Hi, everybody. Lori here. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm excited to share a couple of fun, colorful floral projects using some of the new Full Bloom release with Waffle Flower. I'm going to be starting with the Postage Collage Wildflower stencil set that coordinates with the Postage Collage Die. And if you're familiar with these, you know that they have several different themes for this postage collage situation that I've been dying to try out. But this month is the wildflower. So there's 3 stencils in the Postage Collage Wildflower stencil set. I'm going to be using the 5.5 by 8.5 grip mat, sticking that down to my Simon Says Stamp white glass mat, and then it'll hold a panel of white cardstock. I'm using Hammermill. It's trimmed 4.25 by 5.5. And now these stencils are labeled. You can see up in the top corner. This is the first stencil, 1 out of 3. And then there's registration marks along the side, so you can easily line this up with your A2 size panel of cardstock. I feel like the postage trend is really raging right now, and I'm all here for it. I don't know if it's ever not been out of style, but I really love this idea of having the postage collage, and there's several different themes. I know they had like a St. Patrick's Day, a Valentine's Day. There's been a rainbow one, I think, and just several. But now this month we're doing flowers since it's probably spring. And I'm using Pawsitively saturated inks by Simon Says Stamp, a bunch of different sizes of brushes, trying to make each bloom that will go in each little, square a different shade. And I'm going to try to pack in as much color as I can. If I don't mention the ink colors, I'll have everything linked in my description box. Sometimes I switch to the little mini, detail blender brushes. Sometimes I use larger one. It just depends on how much area I need to cover. And I went really light on that first stencil. Wasn't sure. Here's stencil number 2, 2 out of 3, lining it up. And you don't have to make every, you could just do this with 3 ink colors. Make it really simple. But I like to make it as complicated as can be. So here for the red bloom, I pulled out Pucker, and I'm really popping that. And then Peony, which is my all-time favorite color, and I'm bringing in some hot pink to this little postage stamp area. And then we have this, I don't know if that's like a daisy kind of, but I'm using Zest for that one. And these are some of those new Rainbow Splash blender brushes by Simon Says Stamp. But when I get to the really itty bitty detail ones, I'll show you some fun little detail blender brushes by Waffle Flower that I really love for certain purposes. Okay, doing some purple. I don't know what those blooms are called. I should Google it. But I'm not even sure if I'm doing the right color for these blooms. But you know what? We're going with it, and we're just going to imagine that there's no floral police out there. I'm sure that some of you know, like when you're looking at these blooms, you know exactly what color they should be. Now, here's where I pull out the teeny tiny detail blender brush, and I'm using some Post-it tape to mask off the petals so I could get the center, that cappuccino brown. Now, these are the Waffle Flower little detail brushes, and would these be cone flowers? I think they might be. And I'm just making that little center kind of dark brown. Here's my little detail brushes by Waffle Flower, and that little holder, that's also by Waffle Flower. It's kind of like a rubber silicone situation. Okay, then I'm using some blush on this little section here. And that's what we're doing. And this comes together pretty fast. I was actually surprised at how little effort it is. And now I'm thinking I might need all the other postage collage stencils. It's an addiction, let me tell you. Okay, stencil number 3. This is the final one, and it's all kind of the greenery, the foliage, and all that jazz. And I'm going to try to bring in different shades of green. Here we have celery. It's very light. And then I'll bring in a little, what's this called? Limalicious, to just give it a little dimension, just a little gradient love. Okay, and then over here on these, what are these called? I gotta look it up. Okay, I did a quick Google search just for your listening pleasure. Okay, I just Googled flowers that look like bells, and here's what I got. Angel's trumpet, that might be the name of the flower. Beard's tongue. Now that is a weird name. There's even bells of Ireland. So it looks like Angel's trumpet to me. Some of you florists out there, you let us know in the comments. Okay, finishing off, just adding different shades of green. Here we have a little cabbage. And then I pulled out Mocha dark brown with those detail blender brushes to add some dark to the centers of a few of these blooms. And then this is finished. Look at how this turned out. It's so pretty. Now wait till you add the Postage Collage Die. You got to line it up. I'm going to take this off camera, run it through my die cutting machine, and it adds the most gorgeous detail. And you can even cut these apart if you want to make like individual stamps. I'm leaving mine all together because she's so pretty. Now for some added detail. This is really the bells and whistles. The bells of Ireland. Using Cozy ink, which is kind of a darker gray, and I'm adding like the little cents in the top right corner, 50 cents, 30 cents, even though, what is it now? Is it like 70 cents? I just went and bought some stamps the other day. And my mom warned me. She told me a couple months ago, you better go buy some Forever stamps. But did I listen? No, I didn't listen. Okay, gonna emboss a sentiment from the Full Bloom Sentiments stamp set. I'm gonna emboss it in white on a shade of kind of dark gray. I thought that tied in to all the little detail stamping that I did. It's not like a harsh black and white, but it's enough contrast that it really, makes the sentiment readable. Heating that with the heat gun. These sentiments have a beautiful mixture of fonts, and I love that there are coordinating dies. So then you can just put a little foam tape on the back of everything, because dimension is life. I popped this up on a soft gray card base, popped up the sentiment, added a few sparkling clear sequins, and look at how pretty this is. And you could really customize it by adding different colors and getting different looks. We're moving on to card number 2, featuring the Oversized Daisy die and stencil set. First thing I'm going to do is die cut this extra large daisy just out of white cardstock. You could probably do this a lot of different ways, but for me, I decided to die cut first and stencil second. That way I felt like it would make it easier to line up the petals. I'm not sure. You could probably stencil first and then die cut when you're all done. Potato, potato. You know what I mean? Just live on the edge and do what feels right. And you know I'm going in rainbow order for each one of the little petals. And so the stencil, it's one stencil and it gives you every other petal. So you just got to think ahead about the colors that you want to do. You certainly don't have to make it rainbow. I don't know why I have to make everything rainbow. I just have to do it. But I've seen a lot of fun examples with the design team that created some samples using this oversized daisy stencil. I saw one example where they did every single petal the same color of kind of a hot pink, and it looks beautiful. So you do not have to use 5 million different ink colors, but if you choose to do so, I'm telling you what, it'll light your fire. And again, using the Pawsitively saturated inks by Simon Says Stamp, just because I have so many different shades to choose from, and I am using the smaller little detail blender brushes, which makes it really easy to get right in that petal without having to do any masking. You can just isolate and blend in a small area, no masking needed. So that's one pass with the stencil. I'm going to take this off camera, clean my stencil off, and then I'm going to bring it back and line it up on those alternating petals. Okay, and then we're bringing in more inks. Sometimes I bring in the same color that I used before, but I might blend just a little heavier handed to make it slightly darker, and that gives you the illusion of a different shade, but you don't have to have so many different kind of ink colors. If you do, it's great. Use them all on a project like this, but if you don't, you can get by just blending some petals light and some petals dark. A little more elbow grease. And so here we have Surf, and then we have Cadet, which is one of my favorite colors. It's like a marching band blue. Rounded it off with my favorite, Peony, which looks divine between the purple and the red. You got yourself a little peony. Lift this off and bask in the glory of the oversized daisy. Now for the center, I was tempted almost just to leave it white, but I decided to add a little shading with Latte. So it's kind of just a soft brown. And then I'm going to take this Oversized Bloom print die, and I'm going to die cut it with some matte gold and a little vellum for that shadow backer. So lining these up, take them off camera and run them through my die cutting machine. And there you have a nice gold metallic bloom, which I put little slivers of foam tape on, popping it up on that vellum. And then I'm going to end up popping that up right in the center of my daisy. But first I wanted to stamp a little sub-sentiment. So I'm using the Small Sentiments Bloom stamp set, this one that says "You're a Rare Bloom," but I'm masking off the word bloom with a little Post-it tape. And then I'll take that off and stamp it. So it's going to say you're a rare. And then I'll pop up that big bloom die cut right below it. So it's going to be like "You're a Rare Bloom." And then I have a cream card base with a white panel popped up, got my daisy ready to go with foam tape right in the center. Bada boom, bada bing. Added a few more sparkling clear sequins for embellishment, and this card is finished. And I am in love. Now make sure and leave a comment on this video for your chance to win a $20 gift certificate to Waffle Flower. They're doing a giveaway. All the details are in my description. Make sure and check out the new Full Bloom release with Waffle Flower. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you next time.